If something ever goes wrong with it, these markets will move down in a hideous way. And the fear would not be of missing out. The fear would be of being in.
It's very interesting what you said about how the S&P is weighted. So the more that Apple goes up, if I'm doing my math correctly, the more weighted it becomes.
Yes.
And so it's almost as if it's like compounding its influence as the market becomes more and more inflated, and as you often say, bifurcated, right? The split between the strong stocks and the weak stocks is like really very severe and kind of polarizing. So can you explain why they designed it that way? Because it would seem like then it's more misleading.
I would years ago, if you took the 10 deciles of the S&P 500, in other words, you broke it up into 50 stock increments, right? If you have 50 stock increments, you would have 10 50 stock increments. The stocks with the highest market cap would be in the first increment. The stocks with the 50 stocks with the lowest market cap would be in the bottom decile. So years ago, when these things, if you were to do this distribution and just divide them up by 50 stocks 10 times, you would find that the market caps were generally very normal between each 50. There's a difference today. The first 50 stocks, if I take that first 50 stocks highest decile, what'll end up happening is there's a huge skew. What's happened is the world has moved into mega companies. It's Orwellian, 1984. Which this means is that we are now being dominated by corporate America, very similar to the way government America works. The government is in our daily lives, but never before in history was these 5 companies so influential in our daily lives. So in a way, these companies are like the government. And what the government does, we must follow, sadly, in many cases. But these companies have come to such influence that they now, in total, the top 10 companies in the S&P 500 represent 26% of the entire S&P 500. So the skew has changed because of these huge conglomerates that never existed before like this, and the distribution is skewed. No one, maybe, Aaron, 10, 15, call it 20 years ago, would have understood that the dominance of an Apple could be this great, where literally, if I were to go to your house, there's probably an Apple phone there. And if you came to mine, there is too. And I would say to everybody out there, I'm sure if you look down at your phone, you're either holding an Apple or a Galaxy of some sort. And that is the influence of this world and these literally mega companies.
So
that is a change that has occurred that really wasn't foreseen in such a way. But your statement is exactly accurate. They actually become, the bigger they become and the more people pay up and drive their prices higher, the more influence they have, which tells you that if something ever goes wrong with it, these markets will move down in a hideous way very shortly. And the fear would not be of missing out. The fear would be of being in.
Right.
So what would you call that? Phobia?
Well, we coined the term for iFlip customers who had felt the joy of not being in the crashes and during COVID and last year. We coined the phrase Jomo, the joy of missing out on the crashes. That's the iFlip. That's the new iFlip slogan, everybody. It's Jomo.